Right, so power rankings for round 7 of Super Rugby. I feel like we're getting to a point where we can see who's at the top and who's that step below. And definitely a couple of teams who are well at the bottom. We will start with the team well at the bottom. The Sunwolves, so they had a bye. Hooray, they didn't have a loss. You feel like at some point this season they are going to beat somebody. They'll probably have to play well. The team they're playing will have to play poorly. But surely it's going to happen at some point. Not yet. Maybe the Tars next week. Next, and down one, the Blues. They slipped to 14th. Yeah, they've only had the one win, although it was a magnificent one win they had. Yeah, I can hear my son crying. I agree, son. Yeah, that most recent loss at home to the Sharks was just atrocious. And yeah, one game, 1 from 5 attempts. It's pretty poor. Next, and in 13th, which is down 3 spots, the Brumbies. So the Brumbies, their record slips into the negative now. They were at evens before. They are now 2 wins and 3 losses. And that's a home loss. So, you got to win your home games, and they didn't manage to do it. So, yeah, Brumbies slip down 3 whole places. Next, and down 1, is the Jaguares. So they're another team on the bye. They're only really down because a team behind them, 2 teams behind them, had wins. So they've just been kind of bumped by those results. So it's the bottom row. We got 2 teams from the Aussie Conference, South African Conference and New Zealand Conference. And interestingly, no South African teams in the bottom row. Who would have thought that? I think last week was 2. We had the Sharks and the Bulls last week in the bottom row. Not this week. So it's an interesting mix. Yeah, basically 2 teams being punished for losing at home in the bottom row. Next, and up 3 spots, a team who did not lose at home, the Bulls. So the Bulls... yeah, well, what a turnaround for them. That was a heck of a tour they just had down to New Zealand and Australia. It didn't go very well, but first chance back at home, they beat the Stormers, who at the time were looking pretty good. So yeah, credit to them. They're still kind of in this group, like there's the definite grouping with the Bulls, the Jaguares and the Brumbies. So they're not really pushing the teams ahead of them, but they're at the top of the bottom teams anyway. Let's just put it that way. So, 2 wins and 4 losses is still a pretty ordinary record, but if they can keep winning home games, who knows where they can go. It's still more about next season for them, but they're definitely picking up some good experience. Next, and down 3 spots, is the team beaten by the Bulls, and that was the Stormers. So the Stormers just can't win away yet. Their record also slips into the negative. They just brought it even last week, getting 3 wins, 3 losses. They now switch back, so it's 3 wins, 4 losses. They got another game away next week against the Lions, so it might only get tougher if they can't start, learning how to win away. Still a squad which has got a lot of guys out injured. We'll see how they go next week. Yeah, I mean, I guess they've had a lot of away games, so maybe the tail end of the season when they pick up some more home games, they'll be able to pick up some more results. But for now, they are in 10th. In 9th and up 3 spots is the Sharks. So the Sharks, what an away win they just had against the Blues. So the Sharks season up until this point have been pretty poor. A home win against the Sunwolves, which was convincing, and not everyone's been able to do that. A home draw against the Waratahs, which was probably pretty poor. And then, yeah, some pretty bad away losses in Australia. But, man, what a turnaround. What a difference a week makes. Sharks, massive victory over the Blues. So, credit to them for that. Moves them up 3 spots. And again, that's 3 South African teams in a row. I said we didn't have here in the bottom row, but we got 3 in a row. So none of them got great records. But yeah, that's just where they're at. Next, and in 8th, the Reds. So the Reds had the bye. They don't move at all. Still 3 wins, 2 losses. Nothing doing there. So that rounds out our bottom 2 rows. Everyone's represented. None of these teams are really setting the world alight as yet. And there's a pretty big gap between the Reds, who cap it off here, to these top 7 teams. There definitely seems to be a gap. Although in terms of winning, the Reds are actually a team in positive. So they're the only one of those bottom 8 teams who show that kind of record. In 7th, and down 2 spots, is the Highlanders. So it's a big difference for them playing away. They've 3 wins on the trot at home, had a bye at home, and then kind of 2 weeks on the road to New Zealand teams, admittedly, but 2 losses. Not terrible against the Chiefs. They still were in it right up until the 80th minute. Not able to get a result. It doesn't look right that they're only just above the Reds on the table, but I think kind of on the back end of things, like I said, that there's a bit of a gap. In 6th, and down 2 spots, is the Lions. So the Lions lose their 2nd home game with a loss to the Crusaders. It was another tight one, but man, you've got to win your home games, and the Lions' record now slips to 4 wins, 3 losses. Still haven't had the bye, but man, they're only just above 50-50, so not pretty reading for the Lions. In 5th, team which is much improved, so up 4 spots. The biggest mover this week is the Waratahs. So their record at one point this season was just evens. It was 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw, but now with 2 wins on the bounce, with the bye in between, they are at 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. So they've only been beaten once all season. Not many teams can say that. And yeah, good win over them against the Brumbies, who are a traditional rival, and away as well. So that's helped bump them up. Next, down 3 spots, is the Rebels. Yeah, that's down from number 1, that is. So crashing kind of down to earth with a bit of a hiding given to them by the Canes. I guess that was a true test of where they're at, and it's not quite where we thought they might be. Some people are always saying that the Rebels aren't any good, that they're just kind of decent. We'll see how they learn from this. It's only their first game against the New Zealand team, so and they're a team that's not been together that long, so I still think there's potential for them to get a fair bit better. So yeah, you'll notice that the only 3 remaining teams are Kiwi teams. That's where we're at the minute. In 3rd, the Crusaders pull off an impressive away victory against the Lions, who are a tough team to play. Travel factor didn't seem to affect them, although the Lions were also traveling back from Argentina. So 4 wins, 2 losses for the Crusaders, so up 3 spots into 3rd, back into the top row. Finally getting a away win for them, which is good. If the Highlanders can take a leaf out of their book, then they will also be on the improve. Same for the Stormers. Next, 2nd, is the Chiefs, up 1 spot, 4 wins, 1 loss, no draws. So that first week loss against the Crusaders is looking like a long time ago for the Chiefs. Man, they could be going places, because they're playing a lot of 2nd string guys at the moment, like guys who wouldn't ordinarily be in the team if the team was fully fit. And that means once the top level guys come back, if they get injuries again, they've got a whole team of guys who have been blooded at Super Rugby level. So all they're doing is improving their depth, improving their experience, and they're winning while doing it, which is kind of the amazing thing. Like, you look at the Bulls and say, yep, these guys are young, they're still building, but their results have been kind of hit and miss, whereas the Chiefs, they've got a really young team out there, but man, they're still getting the results, so it's pretty amazing. And at number 1, and up 1 spot, I haven't checked the bookies' odds, but I would imagine they are the team which are the favourite to win it right now. Looking very impressive. that road start at Loftus in week 1 was clearly a blip, because the Hurricanes are putting teams to the sword at the moment. You know, they had challenges, and the Crusaders and the Highlanders come to town, and they dealt to them. And then they went away to the table-topping Rebels and just really like smashed them. So yeah, I don't know what else can you say about the Hurricanes right now. Bowden and company are looking very dangerous, and the Sharks go there next week. It's kind of going to be a test of how much they've improved, because it does seem to be the true test at the moment for anyone is take on the Hurricanes and see how you go. We'll see where you're really at. All right, so that's the power rankings. I'm pretty happy with them this week. I don't think there's too many really kind of out of the ordinary results. But like I said, there's definitely kind of pockets of certain teams that are all kind of amongst each other. And then there's kind of a gap between 7th and the rest. But Reds will give them time to see how they go once they come back from the bye. Alright guys, that's me. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon.